Why, hello there. Um, I'm on my own today, so I was there trying to figure out what to do on my own. And firstly, welcome to the Sanctuary podcast. I'm Bareth at 87. I've been working on a few things in the Sanctuary today. We'll go over that very shortly, and on top of that, we'll go over a few other things as well. But I want to talk in a little bit more detail very shortly about my streaming experiences, my streaming journey, and like little bits I've picked up through my streaming life. And I think, I've been somebody who averages 5, I've been someone who averages 30, I've been someone who averages 10, I've been around and about with where my actual average is. So there's quite a bit I want to unpack about my streaming journey. Now, I first wanted to start talking about when I started streaming. Because when I first started streaming, I came from a position of just watched a few Twitch streams. I didn't really know much about it. And I was very new to the Twitch experience. Twitch was something very, very new to me. I hadn't seen it. I didn't even really know game streaming was like a really big thing. It was April the 13th, a few years ago now, 2 years, 11 months ago. So I'm coming up to my anniversary now of how long I've been streaming for. I'm about 3-4 weeks away from that. 3 weeks now. And it's funny because I've been through so many cycles where I've redeveloped and recreated myself and changed how I act and things that I do within my streaming. And it's not like an act, but it's like how you behave or how you do things in your streaming, because you evaluate what you do all the time. It's always an open evaluation of yourself. I started out as a PlayStation 4 streamer. I streamed directly from my PlayStation 4. This was an interesting time. I want to bring up some names because there's some people I really want to thank at this point. While I was a PlayStation 4 streamer, it was like Tater Chip, Satchmo, Sophie, Workday Dragoon, and that group of people. I still get to speak to them a little bit like now, and whenever I get to speak to them, they are so amazing. We're nearly 3 years out of life from when I first met them. And I can only remember the love, the kindness, the friendship that they offer to each and every single person around. And I think that's really important. When I start looking at groups that have stuck together and worked, it's because they're bonded by a real friendship. It's because they're bonded by people who are like-minded, who want the exact same things, who aren't in it for themselves over other people. I think that's what really works for them as a group of friends, because yes, most of them have stopped streaming now, and I want to talk about like the turnover of streamers a little bit later, but not yet, because I think there's a massive turnover of streamers at different points of the times. As well as that, I want to talk about other groups, and I think talking about the turnover of streamers, for example, because people go for different reasons, and I do want to touch on that in a bit. I remember when I first started out, it was PlayStation 4, and I remember doing Lara Croft. Lara Croft was a really, really fun game to stream, direct from the PlayStation 4, and I think I was playing that game when I got my affiliate status. After getting affiliate, I then moved on to PC. PC gaming was something very different to me. I wasn't a PC gamer before that point. I was a point-and-click gamer. I'd done a few of them, but I hadn't really done anything else. It was all like basically point-and-click and what I had done. When you go into PC streaming, it becomes a very different ball game. With consoles, it's very set and very easy to do. For example, when you start talking about like your console and your console streaming, you press a button, or you do a few things behind the scenes first, like put your keys in and stuff. But you press a button and you go straight live. You don't have to worry about is your desktop audio right or wrong. You don't have to worry about your mics. You don't have to worry about where your chat's gonna be. You don't have to worry about alerts, because you can't do them. Yeah, it doesn't offer you as good experience, because you can't do them. Don't really touch on them. So, yes, it's not as good experience, but it's easier. A lot easier to stream direct from a console than it is from a PC. Because as soon as you then get to the PC, you start getting into other little bits and pieces. Because then you need to figure out if you want to use Streamlabs OBS. You need to figure out if you're using OBS, and each one has benefits. And are both definitely worth trying on your computer before you really start properly streaming. Just give them a trial run and see which one runs better on your computer with set games, because they use different elements on your computer. This was a conversation I had a lot with someone called Like a Boss. Like a Boss was an absolute gent of a guy. And again, I met him before I went into Nameless Family for a while. So, yeah, Like a Boss, he's now got a YouTube channel as well, because, again, I'll go back to people who with multiple reasons about why they stop streaming, and why it's important to give yourself that option that if you're not enjoying it, or whether you've got a change of circumstance, that it's okay to stop streaming. So, things happened in Nameless Family. Again, won't really go into that in proper detail. And then I joined Grow Together out the back of that. And then that's been like one of my families that I've been in since. And I'm not going to take anything away from Grow Together right now, because I think that for some people it works really well. It's one of those communities, for me personally, that I like some of the people in there, but we're not all that well connected within games that we play, and it just doesn't work out as well as quite as what some families would for me. And I think that's really key. And I want to talk about communities very shortly as well. Also, I am great friends with somebody called Ziddick, who is an absolutely amazing streamer. And within this last 12-month period, he managed to make partner. Absolutely smashing guy, absolutely brilliant, top quality, one of the best streamers that I know. Kind, down to earth, and knows exactly what he's doing. If I have issues with commands or anything like that, I know I can go straight to him and be like, I need your help here. And to have that kind of support, and I pop into his stream every so often, and he is the best mod that I've got. I will not hesitate to say that. He is the best mod I've got, and I'll talk about modding as well. I also am part of Quack Pack. Quack Pack is an amazing community. The Quack Pack community is run by one individual, much like the Ziddikians, and it's not really run by them either, which is the amazing thing. It's like a group of people who just enjoy being around each other. So it's not run by anyone. They don't do secret meetings. They don't do anything along those lines. And overall, they have nice feelings to them. They feel like a proper family. And yes, Duckplay is one of the nicest guys that you ever meet. Again, just top quality. And he has been on the podcast before, if you remember rightly. And we are still trying to get him back on, but timings and dates and stuff, I'm hoping to bear down and pin him down at some point. I then want to go on to a few other things, but I'm going to touch on the things I already mentioned. The streamers who have been and gone. The streamers who was streaming, who then went off and decided the streaming wasn't for them as much. And some of the reasons why that can be a good thing for them. I know as a viewer, I miss many of these a great deal, because I loved being in their streams. The likes of Workday Dragoon, Satchmo, Sophie, Like a Boss. There's so many others. Chloe Louise. And there's so many others that I really enjoyed being in their streams. However, it doesn't always work out the way you think when you are a streamer. So, I said it doesn't always work out the way you think it will do when you're a streamer. And I think it's really important to mention this. Because there's times when you're a streamer and you're like, I'm really enjoying streaming, and then there's times where you're down on streaming and you don't enjoy it anymore. And it's hard sometimes because you can get stuck in this rut. You can get stuck because you can't find a new game to play, or because just things aren't happening for you because nobody's talking, or because this or that's happening, and it's not always the best, like, most conductive environment to be in. I personally absolutely love streaming most of the time. I do still have those downtimes where I absolutely hate my life of streaming. But that's nothing against, like, the streaming itself. It's normally more to do with the fact that I get stuck in my own head, and then when I'm stuck in my own head, it's a lot harder. Because that's more my mental health. That's not dislike of streaming or anything like that, or what anybody does or anything like that. And I want to start by talking about some of the reasons why I know Langs as well, who was another streamer who I really enjoyed. He and others gave up for multiple reasons. So I'm not going to name whose it is about the reason, but I'm just going to go into some. Some of the reasons might be you move house, you lose the ability to be on the internet, you don't have as good internet, and it feels a lot harder at that point to be a streamer because you need internet as a streamer. You don't want your internet constantly going up and down more than a prostitute on the red light district. You want your internet to be solid and firm so you don't have to worry about what your internet's going to do for you on set day. And if you can't guarantee that, you've got to look at other ways to entertain or other ways to do things and change things up. And there is some streamers that's gone out and done that, and they've changed how they've done things, and they've gone and tried different things, like YouTube, for example, and done videos, and just to see how that works for them. And that's amazing, you know. That's what it's all about. It's about evolving and changing and making sure that you're always happy with what you're doing and the content you're producing. There's a few others that just work got too much. Too much work is a very, very common one. And as much as you want to stream, if you're working 40, 50, 60-hour weeks, more to the top end of that, more of the people who I know, then it becomes harder and harder to keep a schedule. It becomes harder and harder to stream. If you work odd shifts where they just like pick and choose what hour you're working, so basically hospitality, it can become harder then as well. And I think it's really important to keep, if you do enjoy streaming and you don't want to give it up and your work is getting a bit too much, if you're willing to go and lose some viewers, because you will lose viewers by not having a set schedule, you will lose viewers. That is true. However, if you're willing to lose some viewers or become a special event streamer, now I know a few people who can put on a stream and get 20 odd people because they stream once in a blue moon. Or they'll get 10 people because they stream once in a blue moon. If they streamed every day, they'd probably be settled on about 5 or 6 for the start of it. And I think that's really, really important to remember as well. If you're a once in a blue moon streamer, you are very likely to pull in a set audience, and then so you'll have a roundabout number for a long period of time. And then I go on and I look at another reason why people stop. So what I'm saying on that one is you don't have to stop. I know it might just be once in a blue moon that you can stream, but you don't have to stop. You can always continue and work on and move forward. then obviously you can fall out of love with streaming. Your computer can break or something. So I'll start with the falling out of love with streaming. I think as streamers, I think most of us have gone through that, where we've absolutely fell out of love with it. It will be because there's no games coming out, and no games that you're interested in. And now it sounds really weird to say that kind of thing, but the reality of it is if you're a variety streamer, and that variety isn't coming out for you, so you're not getting the games that you want to play out, and you just sit there and you like look at everything and you kind of go, oh, I want to stream, but I don't know what to stream. And I know one of my friends, I've not actually mentioned them yet. They often talk about this struggle. Janks, if you're listening to this, you'll have just got yourself like a little shout there. Of not knowing what games to play and what to do and how to get over this deadlock of not having a game is really hard, because I don't think there was that many great games that came out last year. There were some good games, but a lot of them didn't last long enough to keep somebody interested. And then there's some people like Izzy who can play Dead by Daylight, complain about it half the time. However, to him, as he claims, it's a heroin addiction. And I think that's really interesting, because it's basically opening up that whole thing of some games becoming an addiction. They become such a staple in your diet. And when you reach that point as a streamer, if you can have that staple, it does help your viewership. Because as a variety streamer, people will come in and out based on what game you play. And again, that's not making excuses and such, but I've always had my higher peaks when I've just concentrated on one game. And I think that's really important. You've got to have a USP. You've got to have a unique selling point, and I think it can be that game and your style. If it's a variety of games and your style, it's a lot harder. However, it is possible. Now, I know people who, for example, played 7 Days to Die a lot. And because 7 Days to Die has evolved so much over its period of time, it's gave them an evolving experience. So it's been easier for them. So if you do have that game that's evolved, it's a lot easier to keep it moving and going forward. Because if you started on 7 Days when it first came out, which is about 7 8 years ago now, you have had an evolution of a game, and you've probably built an audience based on that. I do think a lot of the audience has moved on from 7 Days to Die, unfortunately for the game itself. However, because obviously other games came out in that genre, and they've done a very good job of being inside that genre, and probably a better job than what 7 Days has now. Sorry, 7 Days, guys. I do still love your game, and I love all of you that designed that game. But I think that for me, I struggle to watch it now. Like, I think some streamers made 7 Days to Die really fun, and this is another really good tip. And I'm going back to Like a Boss on this tip. Like a Boss had a very unique way of selling 7 Days to Die. He had a very big persona. He had this personality, and it was amazing. He drew you into him and his game, and I think that's really important. If you've got a specialized quality, for example, you like survival things, or you like doing that, or you like modding, or you like doing this or that, or there's multiple things. For example, one of my favorite experiences of all time was watching the Workday Dragoon do car fixing mechanic game. Can't remember its name. The reason why I loved it, though, is because he had a love for cars. He had a proper love for cars. He has a proper love for cars, and it's a shame I've not heard much about what venture he wanted to go into afterwards. Because my God, he was brilliant. Right? He knew so much. I'm not really a car person. If I had to have a car, it'd be a Volkswagen Beetle. I don't really think that goes in with like the classic car environment, does it? However, it's something for me that he could pull me into that game, and I enjoyed watching him. He was one of those people who knew how to get you interested in a game which I shouldn't have been interested in. I played it a few times. I enjoyed it when I played it, but I didn't think I'd ever enjoy watching somebody play it. And then obviously, so we've talked about Nameless, Grow Together a little bit, the Zidikians, Quack Pack, The Sanctuary is the last place I want to mention. The Sanctuary it's an interesting one because we're very small and very young at the moment. So I'm not saying it's going to be the most amazing community out there. It's really not at this moment in time, but we are definitely trying to do things that are different and just trying to introduce different things so we're not just a run-of-the-mill like place. And it's been hard because for me personally, I went from having my own Discord to joining these guys to make a bigger Discord. For me personally, it's fun. I don't have to be as involved, but I get involved when I need to be. I can take like 4 or 5 days away from the Discord, just pop in once or twice and just see how everything's going. Get in touch with Bear, see how everything's going with himself, see how everything's Sophie, and then you can just get a general gist of what's going on in the community anyway. And because the community is growing, and we're trying to find new ways for it to grow, like our football predictor, or the horse racing nights we're going to do. So that's going to be really good fun. I'm really looking forward to them. They're going to be amazing. Yeah, so that's my one thing is focusing on what communities you are more suited to. There's definitely some communities I'm more suited to. And I think that's really important to understand, is to know where your strengths lie and which communities will be best for you. If you stream for mental health awareness, for example, there's some Discords that literally focus as gamers who concentrate on mental health awareness. Get involved with those Discords. Make your stream and the Discord you're in, because you only get what you put into a Discord. And then you get like a percentage of that back. So if you put 100% in, you'll probably get 80% back. You'll never get like over the 100% that you've put in. So you will get a percentage back of what you put in. So remember that, and remember to keep putting your effort into these Discords because they will like help you like grow as streamers, and I think that's really important. I've let that go a lot recently, and I do need to get better at that. And there's a lot of things that I sit there now and think I need to get better at that behavior. I want to talk about the podcast now as well. I wanted to start a podcast a long time ago. And I spoke with Vario about this. I spoke with Like a Boss about this. And I think at the time, Like a Boss was on a partner push. So he was like, I can't really get... I'm spending all my time streaming. So I can't... So he's going to go for a proper partner push. And that's fine. Well, you know, you can go for a partner push. It's all good. I could speak a lot on partner pushes and why I disagree with them, but I'll get to that if I have time. Now, when this went down, I then did a couple of pilots with Vario. Sorry. So I did a couple of pilots with Vario, and Vario was amazing, fun. We spoke about several things. We spoke about toxicity in gaming. We spoke about like a bunch of other things. And that was really good. Now, we've started this podcast up now because this came from like the Remnants, and I was talking about it a little bit, and we was looking at different ways to improve the Sanctuary. This was one of the ways that we thought that would be really good. So, as of this week, if you are part of there, the final episode, the final podcast of the month, we want your input more. as well as that, we're trying to open it up to more guests as well. So please feel free to join the podcast, to join the Sanctuary. And we're looking to open it up to more guests, whether it's like a 2-minute slot where you talk about your favourite game. We'll see. We'll see what goes. And I think some of the other things that I should really touch on is how people can take what you do and wording out of context completely. Because you might mean something in a certain way, but if you write it down in text, it can come across completely different. You can make a joke, but that joke might not always be understood by everyone. If that joke's not understood by everyone, you can then end up with a situation where you've offended someone and you shouldn't really have offended them, but it's fine. It's not fine that you've offended someone, but it's not really your fault you've offended them. But they've seen something, especially if it's typed in, then that's really awkward. I had that a couple of times on my stream, and yeah, it caused me a few issues. Somebody typed someone in. I know they didn't mean it that way. I knew they meant it as a joke. And it just spirals because a joke to one person isn't always a joke to the other. And it's really, really hard that that happens. And I think that's really important. And that's where mods come in. I said Zidic's my best mod. And I'll stand by that. Zidic's the best mod that I know. If there is a homophobic, sexist, any form of joke which just should not be accepted, because I'm sorry, we don't accept that kind of behaviours, then he's threatened the banhammer. Done. Banned. Gone. And then he goes around loads of other streams and bans them. So they can't go around and be the same thing everywhere else. And I think that's really important, and that's why I want a big shout out to that guy. Having great mods makes it so much easier as a streamer. And having mods that are there and active can keep your chat flowing. Really, really important. I've had ebbs and flows of that, basically. And no, it's not bad, but as I say, you have ebbs and flows with it as a small streamer. But when you have your mods there and they're loud and they're busy, then yeah, you generally get you can generally feel better in your stream. So having a great mod or two, having too many mods becomes a bit awkward, because then they can start trying to ban each other, and it just becomes awkward, and it doesn't really work in my. I would talk about publicity and publicizing your stream, but the Roving Bear is definitely the best person to speak about that. He is on a push and half regarding pushing his stream out there to a main and bigger audience, and I think he's done a very good job with that. He is definitely taking the bull by the horns at the moment in that regard, and a big hats off to him. He would be here today, but he's moving rooms, so he's not here today. The other things I would like to just mention is a couple of my opinions. I might have said I'll mention something and I might have forgot it. It's fine. I've not really wrote that many notes down. If you are going to run a community, it's best to run a community in my opinion, it's best to run a community by leadership, by a set leadership, then have a leadership by committee. I've not seen many Discords that I go and I sit there and I go, you've done a very good job as a committee. Too many different personalities, too many different aims, too many different goals. Somebody on the committee will always be looking to put themselves first. Somebody will be like, but we don't want that because it wouldn't fit on my stream. Well, it's supposed to be a committee decision. You can't just kick off because we're getting a new something and we're asking for it to go on everyone's stream, and you kick off because it wouldn't suit your stream. But the rest of the streams, and you know if it goes to a vote, that you will end up with something that doesn't suit your stream. And this isn't any community I've mentioned, by the way. This is not any community I've mentioned. But that obviously happens because you don't want something you don't want on your stream. But if you're going to enforce it on somebody, like by committee, you can't block something and put it not for a vote. That's my opinion anyway. And so I don't think many committees work. It alienates people and it makes people feel a little bit put out. It allows people to have power trips, and it just makes some people more important than others. And I don't think that's a good thing. So you've always got to be very careful of that when you build. And I'm definitely somebody who has seen that firsthand, and I just go, I want to give everybody the same help. But it's hard. It is definitely one of the harder things. But that is basically a lot of my experiences with streaming and like building a stream and growing. And I've had times when I've averaged 30, 40 people in my stream over 1 to 2, 3 weeks. Then I've had times where I've averaged 4, 5. It just seems to go up and down like nothing. Lockdown was very good in a manner of speaking. Sorry if you like those phrasings, but because more people were sat at home starting to watch Twitch. But then as more people started to watch Twitch, more people started to join Twitch and made the viewers separate more, and it became harder. There's certainly different things that we go through as streamers and different times and different belief structures that and it is hard. There's more celebrities on Twitch now than anything. I think that they definitely started to realize the power of Twitch. You like look at Lando Norris, for example, absolutely amazing human being. I absolutely admire the guy. He's Formula One racer. He's British. He seems to have his feet on the ground. He doesn't seem to have anything against anyone. George Russell, the same. Now, again, another streamer. Now, I think that I'll also say this very quickly before I finish. I really like those two, by the way. I do go watch their streams, and they're probably the biggest people I watch their streams of. I also watch partners like Stingin and obviously Duck Plague and Ziddick, and hopefully, Pooyard in the near future. He's just on filming this, actually. He's still finishing his 24-hour stream, which, well done, mate. You smashed it. You're smashing those numbers. You have made a massive achievement there, and the way you've managed to do what you've done is absolutely exceptional. The way that he's done it, he's made his own niche, he's made his own market, he's made himself interesting, and he's done that very, very well. I absolutely love what he does. Yeah, he's hype. He's definitely hype, and I do think hype does help, depending what kind of audience you're after. Because there's some people who I've watched who are so far from hype that you just go, I don't get this. There was one person who I was talking to Like a Boss about with, and Like a Boss was just talking away, and he was there going, all this streamer does, and this streamer gets constantly very high numbers, is someone will come in with a name, they'll just be like, let's say it's Sophie, for it, like, hi Sophie Bubbles, hope you're doing well, play his game, and that'll be it. He just plays gaming quite quiet. But there is something else there, that if you're great at the game, then you generally will get people just to watch the game itself and not watch you. But it depends what you are. You can be a streamer of a game, or you can be a streamer of like that puts yourself out there, and it is difficult. And there is times that I've like looked at it and I've been like, yeah, I don't know where I am in that. I definitely need to change my scene up, but that's definitely going to come. it's definitely something I'd be interested in talking through in this kind of thing, even if it's like 20 minutes every so often, and just like talking through what I've been doing differently, how I've been changing it. Maybe I'll get Roving Bear to do the exact same thing. Like we'll talk about what we're going to change and how we're going to change it, if it works and things like that. If you're interested in that kind of thing. But yeah, there's a few people that I really, really want to really speak about, and like streaming wise, because I think it's really important to acknowledge those people who you meet on the journey of streaming are some of the nicest people you'll meet. Some of them aren't. Some of them aren't. Some of them are. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that streaming is not about the destination. Streaming is not about being partner. Streaming is not about being the biggest streamer of Valheim on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook. It's about the journey. It's about enjoying every stream. It's about making every stream that you do or go to feel special to you, and make it worthwhile for you to get up in the morning. If you're doing it I do it from 12 till 5 at the minute, and so you get up in the morning and you're interested in doing it. That's hard. That's very hard. But if you can get that, you're on the right journey. If you're doing something you love, you're on the right journey, whether it's in streaming or anything like that. So that's the point I'm going to leave you with today. I want to thank you, and you're going to hear Roving Bear in the plug at the end. But thank you very much, guys, and I want to say thank you to each and every single one of you who listen to this or watch this if you're on YouTube. Now, this was a little bit of a... And if you do have any questions, please feel free to contact me, because I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. I'll do a follow-up or answer any questions. But yeah, there's lots of other people who I could mention who have inspired me in certain elements. It's good to be inspired by people. Definitely good to be inspired by people. Anyway, I'm going to wish you well, and I'm going to speak to you all very soon. Remember, I've been Barrett87. If you want to see me, I am. You can see me on my stream, or you can see me in the Discords, or you can just drop me a message at any of my possible connections. Please keep yourself safe. Please keep yourself well. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Good night. Peace.
Hey guys, Roving Bear here. If you've enjoyed our pod chats and you've enjoyed other great content, you can find more from me at twitch.tv/The Roving Bear. Stay safe. I love you all.
You have been listening to a Sanctuary podcast. I have been your host, Barrett87, and there's a few things I'd like to just add. Please remember these important phone numbers. The Samaritan UK is 116123. That's 116123. Shout UK, this is a text line. It's 85258. That's 85258. And Crisis Line USA is 1-800-273-8255. That is 1-800-273-8255. Please go and check out your local phone numbers for organisations like this, and pass these numbers on to your friends and family. Keep them in your phone for when you need them, and make sure you are using these very important resources. From myself, Barrett87, I want to wish you a fantastic evening, day, or morning. You can find me at www.twitch.tv/Barrett87. And again, peace out and stay well.
Beep, beep. You've been listening to a Sanctuary broadcast. We will now resume regular programming.